to think of something to speak about now. Press record, and then there is just the unknown, the natural surprises of the universe sort of speaking through in my mind currently. They're speaking through in your mind, of course, although we often neglect to acknowledge this mystery that surrounds and situates us. We become inoculated against truly convening with this mystery from all the conditioning and indoctrination that society and culture seems to impose upon us. It teaches us who we are, what we're meant to do here, what nature is, what reality is. And although all that childlike awe and wonder and playful fascination with reality, it seems to slowly fizzle out as we grow up, as we mature. And we mature into this reality that is disenchanted, that is stale and lifeless, and seems to be dictated by this materialistic and monetary agenda. The agenda which wishes to teach people that the only thing they should care about is money. And indeed, some people, by the circumstance of economic scarcity, are forced to think about this. Because the necessity of surviving, the necessity of having enough money to eat food and enough money to have a shelter to live in. And then there are some who already have that sort of baseline of material comfort. And then there are some who already have that sort of baseline of material comfort and provided for them. They have enough for food and a house and yada yada. But they still crave more money because they want more stuff, want shinier objects, bigger house, bigger, faster car, whatever seems to satisfy them. And there's a whole attentional advertising complex which wishes to capture our attention and sell us products, to sell us dreams of material satisfaction. And, it wishes to hypnotize you into thinking, I want this thing, I want to consume this thing. I feel empty unless I have that thing. And this is the dreams, this is the hypnosis of our modern world currently. Instead of experiencing wonder and awe at the complexity of nature, we experience wonder and awe at the next iPhone. And there's almost this religious fervor surrounding consumerism, surrounding, say, Christmas, the festival of Christmas, which should be totally drained of its sacred origins and turn into this consumerist bonanza where we're supposed to buy all the latest gadgets and bullshit to give to other people. Strange how this happens, We experience religious bliss through consumerism. And what do we do about that, People feel this vague knowing that something is wrong. That somehow our lives feel still meaningless, despite having all these gadgets and gizmos and things and a big house, people still feel this voidness within themselves, as though something significant is missing, but they can't quite put their finger on it. The thing that is missing is the undeniable experience of wholeness. Wholeness is the opposite of the feeling of separation, where we feel isolated from the world and struggling in this world, competing in this world as a scared, lonely, separate ego. Now, society and culture, by giving us names, by reifying our identity at all times, by telling us stories of who we are that are, at its essence, untrue, by reifying this egoic isolationism, it makes us profoundly estranged from the truth of our essential unity with everything. Even religious institutions become dissociated from their mystical core, and they fall into this illusory structure of bullshitting people so that the church or the institution can have control and dominion over the people in that community. It seems to me as though consumerism is a similar sort of, somewhat religious like control structure that wishes to keep people in certain repeated cycles of slavery. It's a slavery of the mind into a perpetual sense of longing, a kind of addiction that drains them of their energy experiencing the feeling of desire when they desire something. It also drains you of your money too, ensuring that you continue to have to work so that you can buy more of this stuff. This stuff that doesn't make you feel whole. It only serves to reinforce your sense of disconnection. We live in a world that actively wishes to disconnect us from source. It wishes to program us and condition us with ideas and ways of seeing and ways of being in the world that will not satisfy us. So this sort of reminds me of this deep necessity of deprogramming our brain, deconditioning our mind, and truly sort of returning to an original, an ancient form of consciousness. Now, there's not much you can say about this state of consciousness. Perhaps you can say it's just awareness of awareness itself. This simple yet primordial I am what I am. And it may seem foreign to many people who are so attached and identified with this character that they're living. Indeed, we get so caught up and swept in the momentum of being a person that we become so dissociated from what is right in front of our face. Yet when you see this non-conceptual mode of being, you can't unsee it, of course. Of course, nothing changes, yet what happens is you can occupy this lighter, slightly more detached vantage point from which to experience reality. You can participate in the play of creation, yet you can also know that you are something quite apart from the play of creation. Perhaps you can call it realizing God consciousness. Now, this may seem blasphemous for many people who are still in that matrix of religious understanding, whereby we are not God. We are disconnected from God. God is somewhere out there. This is, strictly speaking, untrue. And anyone who has had a kind of mystical experience or a mystical realization will understand that God is continuous with existence itself. It is perhaps, the animating principle. God is not a bearded man in the sky. It is something invisible, yet visible. It is made visible in your experience, in the experience of your loved ones, in the experience of nature. It is movement, maybe. Something that simultaneously moves and yet is unmoved. It's difficult to speak logically about it because it's something that transcends logic. So you can just say God is isness. But this whole sort of tangent is to bring people to a direct experiential encounter with the divinity that is them, with the mystery that inheres in them, and how significant that therefore makes their experience. Many people sleepwalk in this haze, and they experience an amnesia as to who they truly are. They become so swept up in performing this character who is swept up in the dream of another person that they lose that intimate encounter, that intimate knowing. Of course, as I sort of continue down this path, as Ryan continues down this path, he comes to this sort of acknowledgement that the mystical experience, the mystical realization is a rare thing. And currently not many people will have this realization. And consequently, not many people will really understand what I'm saying in the depth of their being. Is this a good or bad thing? I do not know. It's what it is. But what it does mean is that when you go out into the world as it is today, and you try and speak these things and try and make people understand, often you will simply encounter blank stares or bafflement or this feeling that you're crazy. You're crazy for not caring about the things that society cares about, such as money and bullshit. Are we the crazy ones, or are they the crazy ones? Who knows? I don't think there's anything possibly crazy about being curious and introspective and fascinated about what is all going on. So that's the only thing that truly animates my curiosity. The prospect of making money, of becoming something in this materialistic world is empty and vacuous to me. It's a hollow existence. There's no enchantment of reality. There's nothing of real intrigue there. There's nothing of substance, really. I find substance in, the solitude of deep nature, meditating in some woods. There's nothing more than that could possibly satisfy me. And this really leads me to a critical point, that satisfaction and wholeness are not complex things. Very simple things. A happy person is a simple person. They do not want for much. They are satisfied and grateful for what is. And they have this relationship to nature, where they do not see nature as threatening. They rather are a friend to nature. They have the belief and the confirmed understanding that nature is a nourishing force. The Matrix does not perceive nature as a nourishing or sacred force. It sees nature only in terms of money and commodification and this urge to dominate and destroy. That's all does this mode of consciousness realize, is that the thing that it is destroying is itself. It is suicidal. Because of course, we are not separate to nature. We are inherently continuous with nature. With the air that we breathe, the cells that constitute our body, the food that we consume, we are constantly in this dance with nature. And that is that, really. So, to move towards, as a passing thought, to move before a harmonious relationship with nature that is beyond this bullshit soundbite sustainability that many people and corporations insincerely, utter. Harmony of nature with nature has to begin with a harmony within oneself. And that requires work. It requires honesty. And a sincerity that is exceedingly rare today. But if we can cultivate that courage, truly witness oneself, and to witness the truth of one's existence, beyond the performances, beyond the personas, beyond the imitations, the masks that so many of us get so swept up into. when you can witness that silent hum of existence that underlies all the forms, all the expressions. Then you realize that this person who you become so identified with, this person with a name, with fears and hopes and aspirations, is all just sprinkles on the vast oceanic cupcake. A weird metaphor, but it's what's coming up right now. And we get so enamored with the sprinkles, we forget the cupcake. And we eat the sprinkles. We want more sprinkles. But we never want to eat the actual cupcake that is so much more delicious and so much more vast. And it's actually the thing with true substance. But anyway, I'll leave that at that. Goodbye.